Ah, there, everybody's back. Right, okay, thank you very much. Welcome to this evening's monthly meeting. I've not got much to say in terms of announcements because there's not much activity out there and certainly no events happening at the moment. But it is nice to see stuff opening up again.
Yep.
And judging from the queue of cars that seems to be permanently outside my house at weekends, I'm guessing that there's quite a few visitors to town at the moment, so that's good news too. Have we got any statements from the public?
I'll just pick people up from the audience and they can shout out if they do, and then if not, I'll have to pop them all back down.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anybody wishes to say anything.
No, thank you very much. Okay. Nice to see. Sorry.
It's okay. It's just probably a few people are online.
It's nice to see that we've got a good audience attending again this evening. So thank you for that. Statement from county councillors. Well then.
Yeah, I'm just unmuting. Gareth, can I talk about this email that you've had from Gareth Roberts about the 4 great highways?
Well, I was going to suggest he presents to the next council meeting in June.
Well, we need it by June the 16th. That's when the...
Well, we meet on the 15th. We meet on the 15th, don't we?
I think we're leaving it a bit close on that, aren't we?
I thought in an email. Oh, sorry.
Go on, Melvin. Finish off.
Well, basically, sorry, I should have given apologies for Graham Timms this evening. He's on his holidays, so basically, what happens is there's Gareth Roberts has written to us as a council because we've got this county. Graham and myself, and obviously in the meeting last Friday was Councillor Lovelock and Councillor Cheminade, and met with representatives to discuss some potential funding for the above project, which is the 4 Great Highways project. We would like to put the project forward for levelling up funding, which is a new UK government grant fund. The 4 Great Highways would form part of a joint BCC and WCBC bid. Timescales are extremely tight, as always with this type of application, and we need to submit the bid by the 16th of June. He's not getting into detail about the levelling up fund, but blah, 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 background. So we are currently still developing the bid, but as part of the bid application, it would help our case if we could have a letter of support from Llangollen Town Council, and I'd be happy if we could help in that regard. So just a brief synopsis of the 4 Great Highways. Basically a continuation of 2020. As we were doing 2020, we looked at the area at the end of the bridge, outside the bridge end, going down to the Riverside Park, going up towards where the school kids go up to school, up to the very steep path, and the other path up to the canal. And anyway, so Cadwyn, Clwyd and DCC got together and sort of funded. So it's very brief. And the scheme was put together by LUC up in Manchester. Anyway, COVID hit. It's a very nice scheme. COVID hit, and everything went on the back burner. The plan was, when 2020 was getting close to the finishing post, it would be lined up as the next project. However, surprisingly, levelling up money has come along, and with DCC officers knowing about this project, they've obviously got in touch with Graham and myself, and Robin and Shem, and because they knew we had it in the pipeline. So we have a meeting next Monday. Well, Graham and I have a meeting next Monday with Emlyn, the traffic guys, basically to discuss the whole, to discuss this, the furtherance of this bid. So I would like to suggest that rather than wait until the next county council meeting, the next town council meeting, if we need to, perhaps we could call an extra, a supernumerary one, and have a presentation on that. I mean, it's about a 1.2 million project. It's not small potatoes, and it's going to link up Wrexham, Llangollen, and up towards Corwin. The MP Simon Baines, I understand, is very much on it. So that's it as a background.
Okay.
So,
can I perhaps suggest, Mel, that you forward the details or get the presentation that was going to be that your colleague was going to make or present to us, and circulate it, and then we'll have some knowledge and some thoughts about it, and as you say, we call a meeting about it once we've got some more information.
Okay, thank you. And I mean, the other thing, of course, is we come to the waste in the Dee Valley, well, in Llangollen really, and in Corwin. We were meant to have a paper up for this on the meeting on Monday, but unfortunately it wasn't ready in time, and we are told we're having it by Friday. The waste manager hasn't got round. She's been very busy, and she's down in Cardiff for the next 2 days anyway. So we should have it on Friday. But what is looking very unlikely is that we'll be taking stuff. You'll be able to take stuff to Clarkmarrock. That's very unlikely. The cost apparently is over £100,000, and the budget isn't there. But we'll have the full paper by Friday, and again, when I get that paper, I'll be happy to share it. That's me done, really.
Questions? Councillor Davis.
I've got quite a few actually that I wanted to ask Councillor Turns, but being he's not here, you'll do, Councillor Mile. It was interesting you're talking now about 1.2 million for the 4 highways project. My questions are about the existing 2020 traffic management thing. Can you clarify the amount of committed funding now in place for the 2020 plans? Originally it was 2 million. Have you got that money or not?
We've just got over 1.75, which is enough to do it.
Sorry, how much?
1.75 million, which is enough to do it. The 2 million was
thank you. I asked quite a few months ago, and I've been continually asking, when will we, as in the town council, the public, have sight of these plans? Because there's a legal necessity for the council, or the county council, to do a consultation. And as I've said continuously, doing a consultation on a fait accompli achieves nothing. So why aren't we? When is this public consultation period going to start? And when can Llangollen Town Council, when can we, the town, have sight of these plans?
Well, the towns have already had sight of the plans, as we've been reporting to the town council all the way through this process, and so the town council knows pretty much what's in 2020. I'll repeat it again if you want. The broad strokes are basically wider payments, crossing points.
Okay, Councillor, with the greatest of respect, we would like to see plans. What exactly is going to happen? Because it leads me onto the next question about the curtilage. We've just had that email saying that, after all your efforts, finally Denbighshire County Council are going to pay for it. However, we would like to know, and that is, people that have asked me the question. I've been told not to use the word we, but people are asking me the question, what is this going to look like? What is the scheme going to be like? What are they going to put outside the town hall? So,
can I speak now, Stuart?
Yes, you can.
Thank you very much. Very kind. Right. I should have had an email today from one of the officers in Denver, and the email was to say if we need to get some dates in June. So the answer to you is it will happen in June.
Consultation in June, yeah?
Yeah, and the officers will be coming into Llangollen with plans. They're looking for a place to set up the whole thing. It will be we were looking for an empty shop, but of course there isn't one. So the suggestion is that we use maybe the lobby of the town hall, and if needs be, if some people want to go and have discussions, maybe use the chamber as long as it's up in the town hall, as long as it's socially distanced.
That's fine, Councillor. Thank you for that. The next question is, when are the planters? When are they going to be filled with flowers, as stated by yourself and the chair? Who will pay for the provision and upkeep of the planters?
No idea as yet. We couldn't put any in much before now, Stuart, as you know, because of the cold weather. So that hasn't been much of a problem. So I do agree. We need something putting in those planters, and that's something that maybe we could discuss. I don't know. Something needs to go into those planters.
Who's going to pay for them? Who's paying?
To put a few quid into it.
Who's paying for them?
Councillor Palmer.
I was going to bring this up, in fact, and I didn't know whether there was a budget for it. But without, we could do it quite cheaply, really. If we got begonias and put them in there, it wouldn't cost more than 60 quid. And if we couldn't raise that, I'm happy to do it and find volunteers to plant them.
Well, that sounds a good idea, John.
I think the answer to your question, Stuart, is that a few people have spoken about it, and there seems to be a general feeling that there are enough councillors who are prepared to put 20 quid in to pay to make them a little brighter.
Okay,
So
thank you. Thank you. Just one other question, if I may, Chair, whilst I've got the county councillor on the spot, so to speak. Pavement piracy. Can the county councillors explain the situation with respect to the adoption of the pavement outside the bridge end and the taxi place and the taxidermist? Given the involvement of both county councillors in the previous public engagement 2020 discussions on this area, which they were both present in 2019, why can they say they have no knowledge of this issue when it's raised recently? We need to get this. We need to get this bottled. And Councillor Mile, I think that you, as our representative, should be chasing officers instead of just repeating the mantra.
There's nothing happening with that pavement area. 2020 isn't going that far in. It's staying at the pavement that is already there. So you're talking about the pavement that goes. There's two different pavements there, isn't there? There's the area outside the shops, and I forget, is it Glanaber, I think, where.
I'm talking specifically the pavement outside the taxi, because he's waiting to put up scaffolding to repair his roof, but he can't because Denbighshire are insisting they own it, and yet they told me when I was in post that we didn't own it. So somebody. There's a difference of truth there somewhere.
Tomorrow on that then, Stuart, if I may.
Pardon? I can't hear you, Mel.
I'll get a definitive answer for you by, I can't say tomorrow, but let's say by the end of the week.
Okay, I'm sorry to keep pressing you on this, Councillor. We've had the definitive answer of Tony Ward, and they've got a map there and everything. And the question that needs to be asked is, if I was told 5 years ago that it belonged to the people that own it, now we're told that Denbighshire has co-opted it, and your fellow councillor talked about adoption. When did it happen? That's the question that needs to be answered by your councillors. And it's no good you sitting there and repeating the mantra. We need you as our representatives to get onto those offices and find out what's gone on there. Who owns that land? Why do they say that it was adopted? Because the proof that the owners have got is it's never been adopted. So it's down to you guys to get there and to say, hang on a minute, when was this done? I put an FOI in, so we will find out eventually, but I think it's incumbent on you and Councillor Timms to go chasing those officers up to find out what on earth is going on there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Might I suggest that this town council's business is not to do with what you're explaining at the moment.
Yeah.
This is a matter between the landowners and the county councillors. We're wasting our time here.
Yeah. With the greatest of respect, the other councillor, Timms, doesn't answer emails or rarely does. And this is the only opportunity that people get to be able to ask these town councillors directly questions like this. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Stuart. Anybody else got any comments? Right, thank you very much, Mel.
Thank you.
Apologies
Chair.
for absence.
Sorry, Chair, can I just say, Councillor Lovelock did have a presentation on the Great Highways because
Okay.
we were asked whether they could present that as part of 2020. So I was expecting that to come up as presentation from outside bodies. So I think
Okay.
has done some work on it. So perhaps we might be able to have another look at it later on.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you, Robin. Apologies for absence.
None, Chairman.
Declarations of interest. Minutes. To authorise Chairman to sign the minutes of the previous meeting.
Don't do the date, Chairman. Don't do the date, Chairman. It's Mr. Dyslexia again. It should be April. Just previous meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. April 21 is the correct record. Anybody like to propose that?
No.
Thank you. Councillor Lube, seconded. Aye. Councillor Grinley. All those in favour? Any abstentions or, yeah? Anything else? No, thank you. Financial reports.
I just need to. I was going to try and share the screen, which I'm not very good at doing this. I'm really sorry. I just need to. My mouse isn't working now. Hopefully. I need to share it because there are some issues here. At the moment, we've not had our staff payments in from the company. It's something I think I'm going to need to address because it's a bit of a after the event, but I'm going to see if they can do a pay run a bit earlier so we can sort that out. Otherwise, a few additions. Amazon today, we've just paid something today for connecting upstairs for the dance classes, and the food bank. We offered a donation. There was some uncertainty of where the bank account is going to be, but now that's been clarified. So this month we'll be making a donation to the food bank, which has already been resolved. But I think just need to point those out. Building valuation, SB projects. That's the valuation that was done for the revaluation of the council. Of the town hall. So that needs to be paid as we've now had that valuation. So unless there's any other questions, it's fairly straightforward, Chairman.
Yep. Anybody got any observations or comments?
I propose it.
Councillor Palmer wants to say something first. Yeah.
Yeah, Gareth, the planters in town, you know, the ones that we own.
Yeah.
Are there plans to do those?
Starting on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you. Right, okay. Anybody like to propose? Do we accept that?
Move.
Councillor Grinley, Councillor Keddy seconding it. All those in favour? Anybody against or abstentions? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Again, to move progress, you've had the financial statement. It's only got 1 month's population in it.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit clearer than what I used to produce myself. It gives you a percentage and things. So there are lots of other reports I could look at, and perhaps I might do some samples, and you can, in between meetings, for people to councillors rather to say which one they prefer. So we'll see how we go. But you know, there's only 1 month's payments in there. I must say it's going to be a lot easier. All the drop-down boxes have been populated.
Anybody like to propose we accept that?
Excuse me.
You, Councillor Carroll, seconded by Councillor Grinley. All those in favour? Anybody against? Any abstentions? Thank you.
The interim audit, Chairman, has come back. But it's not the complete audit. That's the one that looks at processes and elements. And as you can see, there were 2 comments. One is very much a standard comment about this supplier fraud. It's caught a lot of people out, and actually somebody did, I think it was Ian actually from Mould, has inquired with their insurers on what it would cost, and the premium for it, for that element alone, would be £10,000. So I don't think many councils will be taking up that. So we may all be speaking to our internal audit and saying, I'm not quite sure, if this is appropriate. I mean, obviously we can identify it as a risk, but just to remind members, we've got contracts cover. So I presume if we were taken to task or fraudulently by anybody, we would pursue it through the courts because we've got that cover. But to take out 10,000 just for the chance of somebody doing consumer fraud, I think would be a bit onerous. So, and the second item was, if you recall, in April we did the schedule by emails. So it's just to ratify that and formally present it again so that we can get that signed off, and I'll make arrangements for that to be signed. The other issue, as I said, was because we did things online, you live and learn. I sent PDF copies of all the payments, authorised payment schedules, not knowing that the print area wasn't including the signature, and so when I made PDFs, the bottom of everything was dropped off. So they said, Councillor Hadley kindly agreed to use the signatories that he's offered in his chairmanship to go on pasted on it. So we have got 2, but again, I will make arrangements to get the 3rd one added in the chamber. So apart from that, hopefully the rest now, as I say, since the last meeting, has gone forward. So we just need to acknowledge that and that we have taken action on the identified issues, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Anybody like to propose that? Thank you, Councillor Keddy, seconded by Councillor Mile. All those in favour? Thank you. Anybody against? No abstentions? Thank you. Planning applications.
Good afternoon. Evening.
Yeah, start off with 1051.
1051. It's a revised application, and they seem to just turn the property about 45 degrees. So I think the decision we made last time should stand.
Yeah. Anybody like to second Councillor Keddy's proposal? Councillor Greenleaf, have you got a question, or is that a second in? Yeah, all those in favour? Thank you very much. 0918.
Yep, this one, again, it's a revised application. The NRW requested that they submit a planting plan, which they have done. So that's the only change since last time. So again, it doesn't affect our decision really, but just add in the planting plan. So our decision we made last time should be the same, I think.
Okay. Everybody in agreement with that? Yeah. I need a seconder, sorry.
Can I just ask a question? Last time round, did we object?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We did.
What was the basis of the objection?
Yeah, we objected on 2 points last time. I think it was PSC 5 and PSC 15.
Yeah. Okay. So are we happy to go with the same again? Thank you. All those in favour? Anybody against? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. 0236.
That's
Rocklands, okay.
Alteration.
Yeah. It's up by the old ROC post up Donkey Hill there. It's not overlooked by anybody. The alterations to the building fabric don't include increasing its size, whatever, and the roof lights and the tunnel lights are just basically panels in the roof as a Velux panel.
Okay.
So I can't see us having any grounds to object on that one.
So the proposal from Councillor Keddy is no objection. Anybody like to second that? Councillor Palmer, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Any abstentions? Anybody against? Thank you very much. 0050.
This just slipped in. They've had planning permission, so we don't need to discuss that one.
Yeah, okay.
It is revised, but I couldn't see the revisions. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I think it just crossed in the post with us. The revisions were minimal, so I think it just went through.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, 0366.
Tino with Sunbank. There's no external changes there proposed at all. The only concern, which the highways don't have a problem with, is the extra traffic on that narrow lane up past the Sun Trevor. But if they're creating 2 holiday cottages, then there would be obviously 2 extra vehicles at least when it's being let. But the highways don't have a problem, so I can't see why we should have a problem, basically.
Okay, right. So the proposal is we accept it. Can we have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Davis. All those in favour? Thank you. No objections, no abstentions. Thank you. 0409 25 Bridge Street.
This is just the variation on a condition which was updated to suit CADU's requirements. So again, this is the 3rd time we've looked at this actually. So I think our existing decision should stand again.
Yeah. Okay, we have a proposal. We have a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Davis. All those in favour? Any abstentions or objections? Thank you very much. Certificates of decision.
Yeah.
Land off Vicarage Road.
They're just notifications out there. We don't look at those. We just say what's gone through.
Okay. Lorna Hart, Insurance Manager.
Yeah, just picking up on, obviously we made the payment for the survey to be done, and as you can see, the revaluation has put the value of the town hall at 3.87 million. And as a consequence, our premium has gone up quite a bit, but I must say I was quite pleased that it hasn't gone up excessively. It's not as much as I expected. We budgeted more than that. So confidently that will cover, obviously our budget will cover that, and as I said, we will charge the revaluation costs to the insurance line as well. So that's well within budget. But it's just to point out that that will come in June, not revised premium. And I've asked, will they still honour the 3 year sort of reduction? You know, if we did a 3-year contract, they'd reduce it slightly. So that will stay in place, even though we've changed the policy. So it's just to note the increase in premium, but it's not going to be more than covered by the budget, Chairman.
Anybody got any comments? We noted it. Noted. Thank you.
And then the other one is this correspondence from Mr. Neville Hughes, and obviously again there's a degree of urgency on this about working with them on a scheme to resurface the curtilage of the town hall when the works are being done, and they want authority to enter into an agreement with them. Their solicitors will draw up, and all this with no cost to the town council. So I just need happy to proceed with that agreement.
Anybody like to propose that? Propose, Councillor Hadding. Oh, you got a question? Sorry.
I only want to point out that with the curtilage of the town hall, the tree needs work, and obviously it's bursting up through the pavement, which is one of the big problems that we have with it. I was speaking with Tom Booty yesterday, who is the sort of asset sort of manager for that sort of stuff, and his opinion is rather different to our opinion, or the clerk's opinion, that he thinks it's more in the town hall than on the pavement. And his suggestion is, rather than get all legal about all this, that we decide to sort of split any costs attached to that tree. So that was just a conversation with him. That can all be sorted out when these agreements are put in place, I guess. Yeah. Just a bit of background.
So what we're kind of agreeing to is a consultation, isn't it? Yes, and a discussion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chairman, we've been asked to agree with this letter that we've had from the state evaluation, that we will enter into agreement with Denbighshire County Council at no financial cost to the Town Council.
Yeah, okay.
I propose that we accept that and we proceed on that basis.
Yeah, Councillor Addy has proposed we go for it, seconded by Councillor Loob. All those in favour? Yeah. Anybody against? Any abstentions? Yeah, it's really good that it's. I mean, say what it reflects, and I know, I don't want to open up any controversial discussion or arguments. Just an observation from me. What it reflects really is the success of the 2020 group and the officers of Denbighshire County Council. Particularly Councillor Lovelock, in the applications that they've made to various bodies to fund the 2020 project and the raising of £1.8 million. And I guess they've made this offer because the £1.8 million is enough money for them to do the curtilage as well. Councillor Davis.
Just one point. I've done some research on this, and so far, going by the Office of Denbighshire County Council, they've only got 1.2. And I did some research into the Welsh Government funding lines, and I'm pretty confident of the figure. So they've only got 1.2, so the 1.7 I would disagree with. And until we actually see this happen, I don't believe it. I'm sorry for being such a cynic, but there you go.
Thank you very much. Councillor Lovelock?
I assure you, there's 1.7 in the kitty.
Yeah. Councillor Lovelock? Can't hear you.
Sorry, I've got you on mute, sorry.
Thanks. Good way to shut me up, Gareth. Thank you for the recognition. It's obviously taken 3 years of work, and I think one of the challenging things through it has been managing expectations around the money and making sure that we're going through the process in a timely way. So Councillor Davies will just need to wait along with everybody else for the full announcement, but just wanted to really say that it's a lot to do with cost savings. So the reason we're able to proceed on the lower budget than expected, the work we've done over the last 3 years with the North Wales Trunk Road Agency has led to them contributing a larger amount than expected to the project for some work they're doing on the traffic lights, which has meant that we can make those savings elsewhere and benefit the town further, get better value for money for people. So I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Councillor David.
Thank you for that, Councillor Lovelock. It would be interesting to know how you know all this stuff, being as we haven't had the opportunity, we've had no reports on stuff like that. If we'd had information flowing freely as we should have done, we would have known these things already.
I think Councillor Davies, just to correct,
we don't.
Yeah, well, hang on, guys, hang on.
Can I just respond to that, please, Councillor Cheminay? Yeah. So the reason I know is because I'm a nominated person on the 2020 committee, and so I've been in touch with the respective people in Denbighshire who have been supportive of this project for the last 3 years, and spent a lot of time. The reason, I think, just to go back to Councillor Melvin Miles' comments earlier, that we have done our utmost to keep the council and the town engaged and involved throughout this, but it is a process. I'm not sure how much you've been involved in bringing millions of pounds to the town, but it does take quite a long time, and you've got to manage expectations.
The 2020
report manage. Councillor Davies, you asked a question. Councillor Davies, you asked a question, and I'm responding.
I'm responding on and on and on and on. I'm sorry, but you should have reported the 2020 group back to the council.
So the council has been kept updated regularly, and through the council meeting that Councillor Timms, as chair of the group, has reported back regularly.
This is the first we've known.
As Denbighshire have allowed
the
announcements to be made, we have kept you up to date with that.
Yeah, Councillor Davis, I think it was the meeting before the last meeting. There was a video presentation on 2020, which was presented to the council. It was posted on the 2020 Facebook page, and there were links to it in Llanblogger. And I think it would be true to say that at every meeting we've had, when there's been a county council, when the county council has given his report, he's updated us on 2020.
This is the first we've known about the Highway Authority.
The news in terms of the finance, the news in terms of the finance is relatively new and has been reported to you tonight at our monthly meeting.
That's the point I was making, and we should be updated on these facts as they happen. Thank you, Chair.
Well, yeah, I think you are being at each meeting, to be fair, to our county councillor, Stuart. Right, and right, is there anything else that we need to look at? Robin's presentation, was that going to be tonight?
It's reports to town council, and the first is members' representation on council outside bodies, and this is where I had, by way of introduction, Councillor Timms asked if it presented in the county council report, and I said, well, as we have representatives on 2020, it would be better coming from our representatives on 2020. So I do feel a bit sorry, Councillor Lovelock, I hadn't realised that was going to happen, but I think the floor should be hers, and then if there's any others.
Are you up for that, Robin?
Yep, I'll just be quick, but just to give you some visuals, because I think they are really nice to see and nice for other people to see as well. And we'll obviously share the report publicly in full for people to read all of it. Can I share my screen?
You should be able to. If you're on Spotlight, it should be there at the top.
Oh, yeah, there we go. So just a little bit of background on this. So the way it came about was through the work of the 2020 group, and obviously we've been trying to find funding for the last 3 years. So when we were looking at this junction, and all of the donors were all telling us that they wouldn't give us any money for roads and pavements because they were the statutory duty of the county council. We were really brainstorming ideas, and on a walkabout really were struck, even ourselves as residents of the town, by the heritage significance of this junction that's usually, as we all know, a source of congestion and traffic dodging opportunities. And so, but just really standing at this junction, it's probably one of the really rare places in Wales, the UK, and possibly further afield, where there's 4 very significant pieces of industrial history within 150, 200 metres of each other. So you've obviously got the Llangollen Canal, a World Heritage Site, the railway station right there, the River Dee, and then the A5, historic A5, that from Thomas Telford. So just those are the four great highway as a concept. But also in this junction, the overwhelming feeling at the moment is one of peril. And so I cross this road regularly, and I have done for 5 years, and particularly on the downstream side, towards the crossing point over Abbey Road, the cars come round from Wrexham onto the bridge, and with the railings there, it's extremely dangerous trying to cross on the bridge. And as we all know, a place of congestion and busy times for visitors who spill off the narrow pavements onto the road. So as it happened, there was funding floating around for doing feasibility studies, European funding that was coming to an end. So we thought it would be good to try and get some of that for Llangollen rather than it be used for places elsewhere. And we were successful in securing the help of some consultants in this work. So they did all of the analysis that you can see here, and the main purpose of the work was to improve the safety in this spot, to improve engagement with our heritage, and improve accessibility, particularly for people with disabilities, but also the general link to the car park, and make the car park a bit more accessible to the town centre. For those of you that haven't been down there recently, the steps down where you can see the yellow dotted line down into the lower D-Mill Park, the steps are very steep, and there is no disabled access there. So you often see people carrying pushchairs and small children up those steps and things when they've kind of come from the car park and tried to get up. One final comment just to flag up is that given we have a World Heritage Site on the canal, the only sign from the bridge that tells us anyone that there is a World Heritage Site is a very small brown sign just at the bottom of the yellow pathway by the Glanagamlas flats, and it doesn't even say World Heritage Site. It just has a small boat and a pedestrian person. So it was to really try and shout about this amazing spot that we have, and get a better recognition as well as safety for it. So what are the ideas that the consultants came up with? So I'll come back to this slide because it's pretty cluttered, but just to show that they have looked at the whole space with the remit to try and link it all up. So first of all, looking at that tricky site with the Abbey Road link up to the canal. It's the current layout there is not spec for people with disabilities and small pushchairs. So to get a better gradient there and do some landscaping to make that more of a feature, and then obviously some of the work along the road to make the pavement there safer to get along to the crossing point at the bottom on Mill Street. So that was one of the pieces. The main recommendation that they made, suggestion that they made, was to expand over an area that is currently vegetation that's trimmed just every couple of years, and to make a viewing platform at the end of the bridge. And this would open up as you can see, open up the corner, the turn, to make it safer for pedestrians and driver interactions on that corner, as well as to provide alternative perspectives out over the Dee Valley and the Dee River itself. We did try and get the disability access coming from the platform, but the gradients wouldn't work there. And so in other visuals from elsewhere, you can see the kind of design inspiration that they would be proposing to pick up the River Dee kind of flowing feeling. And that's what it would look like from the other side. Going down, they're proposing to change the feature that's currently a stepped pathway into the disability accessible route down through into that park, and then once you're in the park, to really open up the space in River Dee Mill Park, Lower Dee Mill Park, to get more engagement and enjoyment of that space. Potentially the addition of some children's play equipment and viewing spaces, seating spaces there. And that's kind of an overview of how that space all fits together, which you can read about in there. So to go back to the first slide, you can really just see how the whole thing fits together. The top picture hasn't been updated, but the idea is to really improve the flow of people through there, and to start an idea that's been long looked at, is to improve the ability to walk to the health centre in a safer way, to link up to the health centre through the Lower Dee Mill Park. So those are some visuals. I'll circulate the whole report, and you can read all about it. When we did this, we were looking to the National Lottery to provide funding, and we have had very positive discussions with them. They've indicated that they would be interested in covering about 50 to 60% of the costs of what's set out here. But unfortunately, COVID then happened, and funding priorities have shifted, so we haven't picked that back up with them since. But with this Levelling Up Fund, the team that are working on that have identified this as really one of the few scoped projects in the Dee Valley, and so they're really keen to include it in this application under the Levelling Up Fund, which would be exciting if it could happen. I think it would be a big asset, and, as I say, improve the situation for residents and for visitors. Thank you.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's really interesting, that, because that's one of the great debates when the health centre was moved, was putting in access there so that people could perhaps use it as a routeway. Yeah. More easily to the health centre, and cut out the pinch point outside the four-poster. So that's really interesting. It looks really exciting. And just clarification for all councillors, it's a project that DCC are picking up, isn't it? Yes, and running with
Yeah.
and using the same representation as the 2020 group in terms of passing information backwards and forwards. Anybody got any comments, observations?
Just thank you, Robin. That was a great presentation.
That was brilliant. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it looks like an exciting project, doesn't it? Yeah.
What can we do about this letter to Gareth Roberts? Are we happy as a council to send a letter? After you've had a look at that?
You could send a very general, in principle letter.
Yeah.
I thought there was a proposition which was seconded, wasn't there? This is to do with the curtilage we're talking about now, isn't it?
No, that's not to do with the curtilage. It's to do with this project.
No.
Because one of the reasons it's being picked up is that it's a project that's already kind of been developed. Yeah. Because the timescale for spending the money is very, very tight. Yeah.
Sorry, I misunderstood what you were on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I mean, if both Councillor Mile and Councillor Chamonix and Councillor Lovelace that have been party to these discussions think that sums up what possibly you would hear from Mr. Roberts in another presentation, then if he's got no more to add, then you could make a decision in principle to support this tonight if you wished.
Yeah.
It'd be vague, letter of support. Yeah.
So
In that case, I propose that we do that.
There is a proposal then that we send a letter of support for this project, based on the presentation we've seen this evening. Proposed by Councillor Haddy, seconded by Councillor Keddy. All those in favour? Yeah, thank you. Unanimous, thank you.
And it's still a long way till we hear of the funding and process that we still have to go through to get the detail and everything.
Well, it's yet another one of these. It's yet another one of these projects, isn't it? That if we blink, we'll miss because, the deadline is kind of weeks and seconds away almost. Yeah. Councillor Mile.
Nothing to do with what we've just been discussing. But what it does show, I think, is, as we were speaking a few months ago about having projects ready. If you haven't got the money, you can't do it. But if you haven't got the project and some money turns up, you wasted. So really, it just goes to show how having a project in the bag is a good thing.
Yeah. Right. Just to finish off, has anybody else got anything to report from the organisations that they've represented us on recently? Councillor Palmer? I can't hear you. John, still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Reiterate what I said before. The Destination Partnership meeting was well worth attending. And I was pleasantly surprised to see how many Llangollen businesses were represented too.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Anybody else? Right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I think
one more item, sorry, Chairman. Notice of motion.
Pardon?
We have a notice of motion presented by Councillor Palmer. We need to consider finally. Sorry.
All right. Sorry, I've not got it on mine. Yeah. Sorry. Are we prepared to accept a notion of motion from Councillor Palmer? Somebody like to propose? John Haddy.
I'll second his proposition.
By Melvin. Yeah. Right. Okay. Off you go, John.
Well, you haven't got a copy, have you not?
I haven't. I've had great difficulty with my computers. Okay. Yeah.
So, Llangollen Town Council, when the pandemic is finally declared over, agrees in principle to erect a memorial to those Llangollen residents who died, those who suffered from illness and isolation, and to those volunteer members of the community who rallied round to give so much help and support. and establish a local group comprising members of the town council and other interested parties to develop the concept and seek the funding to deliver the project. I thought it's been such a momentous, really, year and a half that there should be some. It doesn't have to be a massive thing, but some permanent memorial for people in the future to recognise what happened in the past, and also not just about the people that either died or were ill or were isolated, but also the way that the community rallied round to support them.
That sounds admirable. Yeah, admirable. That's his proposal. Anybody like to second that?
I'd like to second that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Mile. All those in favour of doing that? And I'm guessing Councillor Palmer will progress it. Yeah, thank you.